Some Snarky Puppy with Tarova off of that incredible album, Culture Vulture. It is a 103. My name is Raina, and I have a very special guest with me here today. Drummer, composer, band leader, Grammy winner, Mr. Larnell Lewis. Of course, known for his work with Snarky Puppy, as well as the likes of Lila Bialy, Jeremy Ledbetter, Robbie Botosh, and more. Larnell has been captivating us with his solo work since he released his album In This Moment in 2018. And recently, Larnell received his second JUNO nomination for his latest album, Slice of Life, and celebrated the anniversary of the album to a sold-out crowd at Lula Lounge. Please welcome Mr. Larnell Lewis to the show. Hey, how are you doing?
Clap it up, clap it up, clap it up.
What up? Thank you so much for being here.
Absolutely, my pleasure.
It is awesome to have you in studio.
Yeah.
So congrats on the album and the anniversary of it.
Thank you.
Sold out show at Lula Lounge. Tell me all about it.
Wow. I mean, there's so many layers to that show. Being able to, first of all, celebrate the anniversary of it, which is incredible. Seeing now a year after releasing it. Number two, being able to perform it live in front of everyone, because we didn't do an actual standard CD release, right? Album release. We just released it digitally and got the physical copies out to people and just started playing it at shows, right? Just kind of, working it into the set. Mm-hmm. But to actually do an album or concert related to the album a year later was beautiful. And then the third layer was it was released on my birthday, March 22nd.
Hey.
Yeah, and so that was my 40th birthday last year. It's my 41st. And so to be able to release the record, see it through a year later, celebrating concert style, sold out room, Lula Lounge, birthday celebration, and then on top of all of that, this album is now nominated for a JUNO. It's incredible.
That is incredible, and congratulations. I have a question about that. So where were you when you found out that you were nominated for a JUNO for this album? Tell me about all that.
I was in line at Starbucks.
Were you really?
I was just trying to get a little something, and, waiting for the time, of course, you're checking the refreshing the website, kind of like you're waiting for basketball tryout results to show up. And that list shows up, and you scroll down, and you look down, and, I see my name, and I'm just like, yes! Hands in the air. And then I kind of settled, and I was like, yes, because I was still in public. So
you didn't tell the barista, hey, guess what just happened to me? See if you get a free coffee out of the deal?
No, I didn't bother. I was like, I'm here. I'm going to keep it normal.
Who was the first call that you called to let someone know that you've not been nominated?
My wife, 100%.
Yeah?
Joy, yeah.
And was she also jumping in the air, screaming in the phone? I have to imagine.
So excited. Yeah, so excited. And I mean, she's like a really, really important part of my operation, outside of, being my partner, the person who hears the dreams out of my head first most times. She's been integral to the process in organizing everything. She played on the record. It's our daughter that you hear first. On the album, on Hide and Seek, track 1, asking to play Hide and Seek. So, yeah, very, very special moment.
It's really interesting that you chose that as kind of the first sounds that we hear on the album. It really puts kind of family front and center on the album. Mm-hmm. Was that a decision that you made kind of from the beginning of your writing process, or did that kind of come as the album came together and kind of revealed to you what the album was about?
Absolutely was the first thought in mind, And even the idea of naming that song Hide and Seek had a lot to do with the process of writing that song.
Yeah?
So I will say, I'm going to give y'all a Jazz FM exclusive, some behind-the-scenes information in here. And that song, the first track, was actually written for Snarky Puppy.
Oh, was it?
It was written for Snarky Puppy. We had a chance to throw some music into the pot for the Empire Central album, which won a Grammy. And mine was kind of just on the outside of the list. And once we got to I think we did 16 songs. Mine was 18. We got to number 17 and the band was just like, we can't learn anymore. And it was like, all right, that's cool. That's cool. And so I decided, let me take it on and do my thing. But the writing process was crazy because, again, I'm home with my kids and I literally, I have my laptop on top of the toaster oven. It's not on. okay? Like, I mean, the toaster oven's not on. The laptop is on.
Safety first.
Right, safety first. And the keyboard controller's on the counter, and I got one baby in my hand, and then, running over and playing ukulele with them, trying to get these lines. I'm using my wife's old Casio keyboard, that we used to play with the kids, and I'm trying to get some chords together, then running back and recording it over there, and just, like, zigzagging, and my daughter's like, what I want to play? And it's like, okay, what we're playing? It's like, okay, let's shut it down. Laptop closed. All right, I know you're behind the curtain, but let's play hide and seek. All right, you ready? 1, 2, and it's just the story of my life being a dad and trying to get anything done. Right? So it's to me, the whole idea of this album was to be a reflection of what is unearthed from the pressures of life, and some of it is beautiful, some of it is like it's really heart-wrenching, and so there are a lot of stories attached to these melodies and sonic expressions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of really interesting themes coming through. You talk about family, the idea of forgiveness, and the idea of self-learning, understanding what you need to feel better in a moment.
Mm-hmm.
I was curious, I saw on your website, I was reading through the bio of Spice of Life there, and you mentioned that sometimes you need to go and hide in order to be able to focus on what you're doing in the task at hand. Is that like a literal hiding place for you? Is it a musical hiding place? Is it just a mental place? What does that mean for you to go and hide somewhere?
Thank you for asking that. So it's 2 parts. So definitely a mental space, right? But typically to get to that mental space, I do try to find a quiet corner, so a physical space. And sometimes, that would be in my office at Humber College. Sometimes that's just, in my bedroom with the, blanket over my head, just breathing. And the core part of this is I love the sound of rain, right?
Me
and
too.
so, yeah. And so I recorded that sound of rain at one of the previous places we were living at and looped that and used that as the basis that I was soloing over, because when I do have my time of meditation and my ability to kind of like step away from things in life for a second, that is the sound that's playing. Like I put that on my phone, I hit play, and I go to a place that I visualize consistently, the same exact, place. And I close my eyes, I try to regulate my breathing, and I just interact with the space. And then when I'm out of that kind of, moment, I feel like I've reduced the static energy that has had me just really feeling, some kind of way. And it allows me to be a lot calmer with, any kind of pressurized situation. So,
do you think that calmness helps with composing and songwriting, or do you thrive off of kind of a frenetic energy in order to write?
Oh, I love calmness. But at the same time, for me, songwriting is about expressing. And so sometimes having that energy is all that I need to just capture that one little nugget of information to kind of like, that one seed to just blossom into something else. So if I'm having a terrible day, if I'm having an amazing day, this is actually something I used to do in college. High school. I'd come home from school and we had this keyboard that you couldn't save anything on. But you could record on it. And so I would sit down after school and just compose a song based on my day.
Oh, wow.
Right? In one sitting, all the instruments, playing keyboard, drums, keyboard, bass, strings, whatever I had to do. And I would record it audio to a tape recorder. And I still have that demo tape. I listen to it every now and again.
Oh, wow. That's so cool.
Yeah.
You still have like a Walkman to listen to it too?
Yeah.
That's rad.
Oh, yeah. I got to stay attached, man. 80s baby.
I am with you. I also still have my Walkman and cherish it deeply. So I'm curious about also the songwriting for this album, because you're talking about managing kids and your kids want to come in and play while you're writing a song. So how do you hold on to that inspiration? How do you hold on to the memory of what you're working on? Or is it a matter of just, I really like this beat, I lay it down, I'll come back to it later. Or I really like this melody, I lay it down. Hopefully I remember what I wanted to do with it later. What's it like for you to write?
This is the part where I say, Apple and iPhones, if you're listening, which you probably always are, hook your boy up, man. We got a great partnership going. I think all musicians utilize the technology they have. And for me, I record my voice notes religiously. As soon as something comes up, boom, voice note. In fact, I have a feature where I can just kind of hit just swipe down my phone and hit the recorder right away, and it starts immediately for me to be able to just capture what's going on in that quick moment, right? So I transfer those to a folder on Google Drive, and then from there I load it into whatever recording software I'm using, and then I build on it. But I also try to give context where I am, what I'm feeling. You know, if I'm thinking about a particular musician, let's say like Corey Henry, I'm thinking, man, like he does this particular move on the organ. I got to have something like that there. But I really, I just try to capture as much as I can in that process and then put it together.
And talk to me a little bit about the musicians that you're working with on this album. Had you worked with all of them before? Was anyone someone that you really wanted to work with and this was the first time? How did you pick and choose?
Oh, it's all of the above. So let's start with, the most important ears on the record, which is, George Sierra, the mix engineer. And he was also the recording engineer on this project. And he's also my birthday buddy. We both share birthday March 22nd, so happy birthday, George.
George as well.
Yes. And so, I've worked with George on a number of occasions, and he's an incredible engineer. And this was the first time I've done an album of my own with George. So that was a first, but we've connected before. Also new to the recording team was Joanna Majoko, and that is
She's lovely.
Oh man, like I needed to call on her because she has a way of, floating above the music with such incredible precision.
Yeah.
In regards to the energy, the pitch, the concept, the heart of the music, the intention, all of these things. I just give her the information and she just transforms it and creates something that is just outstanding. And so we've connected and worked in a ton of different situations. I've played in her band before. We talk music all the time and life all the time as well. And so to have her on the record and on that song in particular was so important. Another new person was Wado Brown singing. And so the story behind Wado was I needed the voice of somebody who I felt represented what it meant to be a father to me, right? And not just like a father to me as a person, like he's more of a friend, but like a father figure and a voice that had that tone, and that had that settled feeling to it. And I was like, you know what? I've not called Wado on anything before. I'm usually seeing him on stage or just hopping on a gig or something. I think this is the guy. I'm going to give him a call. And he made it happen. Like, he took time out of his schedule. He was out of town, and he just said, I got you. And
like
then
a dad would.
And so, and of course, the rest of the musicians on the album are my friends, and we work together on so many projects, and that is my band. So that was another major thing, was to have a reflection of what my band sounded like at this current moment. So that's Jeremy, Rich, Elmer, Rob, Andrew McCanch, Chendi, of course, and, Joy on steel pan, which is incredible. So.
What an amazing ensemble of musicians. Like, it's just incredible to think about the amount of talent that's working on this album. Larnell, I'm so appreciative that you're coming in today. I won't take up a million hours of your time. But I second JUNO nomination, and I'm just really curious, what is the experience like of going to or watching the JUNOs as a nominee?
Ooh. Okay, so as a nominee, when you're watching the JUNOs, there's always that kind of feeling of, I could win.
Yeah.
Like this thing I'm watching or I'm attending, that until the announcement is a possibility, right? So you kind of sit with that a little bit, and it just depends on who you are. For some people, they're just like, meh. For some people, it's everything. I'm a little in the middle, just a little in the middle. But what I would say for those watching, if you want to know what it's like being a nominee, besides being nerve-wracking, right? It's simply that you get a chance to be on this short list of people who are being recognized for something that you're very passionate about. And it's a true honor. You work hard. I mean, the recording process alone for this record was so difficult because of external forces. The music was the easiest thing to do. And, shout out to my funders, those that have supported the album, to make it possible. But there were like a lot of life things. And so to now be sitting and watching this, you kind of play back all the memories of the creation of the process, right? The creation of the project, you know, the good, the bad, the so-so, and you relive it as you're in motion, you know, waiting for this time. But to me, the greatest thing I'll say is it's just a chance to breathe new life again into the album. And it's great because I get to talk about these stories and just share them again, which are always fun for me.
I'm so grateful that you came in today. Thank you for sharing so much of the album and your process with us. Really, really appreciate it. We are rooting for you on Sunday. JUNO's going down this coming Sunday. Larnell, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you. My pleasure. Thank you.
So why don't we play a track from Larnell's latest album. This is the title track called Slice of Life. And again, JUNOs are happening this coming Sunday. And if you want to learn about all of the nominees, including Larnell, head to JAZZ.FM.